Sure, I won't pass out,
They're here to support you. Anyway, hello guys. Let's
Yes.
officially start this. Oh, another person is in. A few people are still entering. Okay, let's start this talk. And I would like to introduce myself. I am Yuni. I am one of the main admins of Army Academy, particularly in design. So I am in charge of the team who creates the designs of Army Academy, and I also volunteer to help for Army Road to College. So we have this event so that we have this event yearly, and we we aim to help people find out the major that they want to take, and to know more about the majors that they think they could take, and to know more about how to survive in that what they call this in that major, or how they can cope with the requirements of the major, for example. So today we will talk about psychology. It is one of the in-demand courses, to be honest, here in Army Road to College. As you can see, we are 45 here in this room, which shows that there are a lot of people who are really interested in this course. And without further ado, let me introduce our speaker. So our speaker has already graduated in psychology, and she's awesome because she's also doing now. She's now is doing masters in educational psychology and specialization in neuropsychology. Wow, that is that sounds difficult. That sounds tough, and you're awesome for studying again. So without further ado, let me welcome Carol. Hi, Carol. Hey.
Thank you very much. Um, yeah, I'm a bit crazy. I like to find many things to do at the same time. So don't feel pressure because I do many things. You should follow your own pace. Uh, okay, I think I will start.
Yeah.
And I just want to say first that everything I'll say here is very based in my own country educational system. So some things might be different where you guys live, but everything you can find everything you need to find to know in Google most of the time. Or like you saw here, we have an army from all around the world. So you can talk to each other later. I believe all of you are on our Discord server, so you can always chat there and ask questions and make friends. I think that's the main point of our launch. So, um, I'm trying to change this slide. Okay, I think sorry guys. Okay, so starting from before college, high school here is, at least when I was doing it 6 years ago, you couldn't decide what classes you would have, so just do the mandatory ones. But in my city specifically, we have some high schools that also give you the choice to make uh, like a course should be a professional once you graduate from high school. So together with high school, you take those classes about a subject. In my case, it was I can't remember the English word. It was something like technology and computer programs and those things, which clearly I never used it after high school, but it's important for a resume since our country is a bit confusing right now, a big mess. And until I graduated from high school, my main choice had been pursuing law school. So I wanted to be a lawyer. And when I was going to, here we have, you have to go to college, you have to do some tests, and we have like a national test where you can try to get, oh, I'm sorry, you can get to try a scholarship to go to a private school, or we have a very few public schools. So, and mostly on them only people who had a very specific kind of graduation in high school can get in those public schools. So the choice for most of people is to do this big exam we have in the year ending, like around November, and then you can get a scholarship. So my first choice was law school, but when I was going to apply for the scholarships after I did this big exam, I thought, okay, no, I don't think I actually want law school. So, and at the time, and this will sound absolutely insane, but I was reading a fanfiction, not from BTS, but I was reading a fanfiction where one of the characters was a psychologist, and their job sounded amazing. And I thought, okay, I think I would like to do that, and I applied to psychology. So when I got into college and started classes, I was like, oh my god, what am I doing here? But, and I'm not going to lie, I thought many times about giving up and changing courses, but I finished it, and it was my best decision, and it wasn't planned at all. So, oh, now another target to try to change the light. Hello? Light thing? Please help me. I don't think what's wrong.
What happened?
I can't. The little bar to
To appear?
switch this light's not showing.
Yeah, we can see the second slide. Oh, there it is.
Okay, I'll leave just in that slide because it has all the topics and it's enough. So, how do you choose your graduation? It's a very tricky question because for some people they have always known what they wanted to do, and that clearly wasn't my case. So I think you need to search your options. You know, when you're talking about a course, you have to read a little about it, and if you can talk to people you know have done that college, or even try to find a professor of the course you want to, and see if they can give you a little talk. That really helps. And well, this week AA is preparing is very amazing and it's very good. So if you can sign up for another areas, that also would be good. And also read papers and books about the topic. And YouTube videos also have a lot, podcasts. And now, when you want to choose the university you are going to go with that course you want, it always depends on the country you are, and because each country has its own educational system. But in my case, it was I just saw the college name there, and it was a very respected one. So I tried on it, and thankfully I passed it. But you can also choose something that is closer to your home or is far from your home, depending on what you want. And if you can and you can afford it, I would also recommend to try to take to go to another country to study. Some countries have scholarships for immigrants, and it's very amazing. The next topic is graduation years. It was very difficult at first because, as you all know, we have to read many things, and our books are very expensive. And in my case, my college was full time, so I didn't have much time. I had to stay there basically all day in most of weekdays. So at first, it was very hard, but once you let yourself experience all the other stuff from the college experience, it's very amazing. So, like, if you want to go to parties, go to parties. If you want to join, I don't know how it works in each of our countries, but here we have some entities from the from each course. One of them takes care of the teams, the sports teams from each course, and we have games that gather many universities with the same course. So basically, just especially in the first 2 3 years, do whatever you want because it's supposed to be the best years of your life, literally. And you won't get that experience if you just focus on your studying. And you will also make amazing friends. So don't worry a bit. Don't worry much. Mostly in the first year, only about the classes and the texts. Try to have all the experience. Um, I thought it would be nice to talk a little bit of the main psychology approaches. I think most of you might have heard about Freud and his friends and his daughter. They talk a lot about mainly how sex and death move us a lot. It kind of doesn't make sense at first, but after a few years you might like it. There's also one of his friends, Carl Jung. He have a very amazing theory that is actually the basis of the MBTI test, the one with the little doll. I don't know how to call that. Is very popular among us, and that they did it a few days ago. So the test is based on Carl Jung's theory, and it's a very amazing theory. Uh, we also have behaviorists. It says that all everything we do is caused by something, and that something can regulate everything, all our behaviors, and every behavior we have might have it can either be reinforced or it can be punished. And when you reinforce it, you make the behavior occur more often, and when you punish it, you make the behavior happen less often until it just stops, because punishment is very strong, but it's not good. Please don't punish your friends. We also have phenomenology. It's based on Heidegger's theory mostly, but we also have many other phenomenologists. And it basically says that everything we do, I'm sorry, it says that everything we do, all the phenomena that happen, like a tree falling, it will be seen by a perspective, it will happen by my perspective in a way, and it will happen in another perspective by another person, and the phenomenon will change according to our personal histories and everything that has in us. Now the thing I think most of you are very interested is the psychology areas. When you choose to pursue psychology, you can have many working areas. I'm sorry. Um, Clinic, I think, is the most popular, especially because it's the one who is the one that pays a lot. And but most people say that this is our main choice, but it's not like that. I'll tell more about that later. You can also choose to work like in health area, like in hospitals or any health institution. It's a very nice job. You can work with the families, you can work with the patients, you can work even with the own staff of the institution you are at. So it's a very nice area. You go to the social field where you can work with the government or institutions that focus their work in the focus of their work in the social environment and the society and stuff. um, you can also go to an area that I like a lot, that is the forensic psychology. In forensic, you will work basically with the law. So if you are in doubt if you want to choose psychology or law, that's a good uh, middle point. In forensics, you can work directly with the police, you can work with the government, you can work in prison institutions, you can work um, during the law process. So you have many choices in the field, and it's a very nice field. Um, if you like it, I really recommend, if you want to know more about that, I recommend the Netflix series called Mindhunter. It's very good and it shows a lot of the basics of one part of our job that is the oh my god, I can't remember the name. That is very good. I'm sorry. And you also have the educational psychology. That is an amazing area. Oh, I'm sorry. It might be my internet. I'll try to speak closer to the microphone. So, in the educational field, we you can work directly in the schools. So I know someone asking me in our Discord server. I hope it's better that way. Um, Someone asking me in our Discord server, what can I do if I want to be a counselor in the school? And the educational field is very in that area. You can be a counselor, you can work with kids that have some difficult with their learning process. It also depends a lot of what approach you will choose because if you choose to follow like the social side of it, you will work in the school not doing counseling or private classes for the students with difficulties. You will mostly try to change how the school works in order to make a better place for those students. Talking about a bit my internships in college, I did internships in many social environments. Here we call them public policies or names like that. They are basically social institutions that offer for free projects to help families and kids and people and anyone that actually needs and is at a vulnerable moment. So you have some of those institutions that are in the educational area and they are very amazing and it's a very nice job. My other internship was in clinic. I I had my patient was a kid, a 14-year-old, but and my last internship that I'll talk about more during the pandemic, we had I had patients for many ages, teens, elders, to adults, to people who were just barely how can I say barely legal and the internships are very important so you can have more contact with all the psychology areas. One of my other internships also was at a company. So we had the area in psychology where you go and work inside companies and most of the time it's just the selective process. You help deciding who they're gonna to contract. I don't remember the correct word. I'm sorry. But it also taught on working a social way inside the companies in ways to help improve the mental health of the workers. So it's also a nice area. Um, Now about COVID-19. I was in my last year when COVID started, so it wasn't easy. we had to stop our internships, and classes started to be online. And I'm sorry, I'll get a bit of water. Just a second. So we had to stop everything and go to online field. And as I know it wasn't easy for any of you, it also allowed us to reach another kind of public with our internships, because we managed to do it online. So people who couldn't go to us before, now we could reach them. And it was very amazing and a very amazing opportunity. And of course, it has its bad sides, especially in my own education, because I'm not good learning through the computer and focusing on online activities. But it was also very good. And after I graduated in December of this year, I felt very lost. And I want to say that to calm down all of you, because you will think you are a bit lost, you won't have much sure of what to do next. And that's completely normal. You you can just breathe and take a little time for yourself to try to discover what you want. At first, after I got my official registration to work as a psychologist, I started with clinic in a social way, so I was doing it either for free or for a very cheap price, which is not very common, but is very important if you can afford it. So, but I wasn't finding myself, and that's what I meant with the clinical area. Most of our teachers will tell you that clinic is the basis of our profession, and it's not like that. You are not obligated to feel good in a clinic area. So that's what happened to me. I wasn't feeling nice. I wasn't liking it. So I stopped it. And that's when I started my specialization in neuropsychology. And after, I forgot to put this in my introduction, but I also started a forensic psychology specialization that I'm doing both. And I'm only doing both because one of them I only have classes like once a month, and the other one is very online, so I can choose when I will study, so it won't clash with my master's degree that I started taking, because one of my teachers said, she was also teacher of the master's degree, and she said I would be very good there. I would feel very home. And it's true. I love it there, and I'm loving it. And research might not be an area of much interest at first, and it wasn't for me. But after you start, you'll feel like you might like it. It's a very important area to know how we can help society and how some events happen and how we can stop them. I have a friend that her master's degree is in fake news area, so either about the government or even about the vaccines that I know is happening in many countries. So when we understand what's happening, we can understand how to stop it or at least reduce it a little. Um, I think that was all. I have received a few questions. I'll read them, and you all can also think of questions and send them in the chat. chat thing. How do you decided what type of psychology you wanted to do? Honestly, I'm still deciding. As I said, I didn't like a lot the clinical area, so I started trying out new things. I already had a very big passion about the forensics, so I did my best to try to pursue it. I got in a research group, and we are going to prisons and apply some psychological tests on the inmates. And it all has objectives, but it's a very good area, and I'm still finding myself in the educational field. And yes, you can connect both because, as I think it is, uh, one of the biggest ways to reduce crime levels is always education and good opportunities. So you can try to, it's okay if you have two or three passions, you always can make them connect with each other. Um, right, this was the question about the counselor. You really should, if you want to be a guidance counselor at a school, you really should focus on the educational area. And how did you handle so much schoolwork? At first, I was trying to do everything, but then I was just letting go of the all the college experience, the parties, the friends, the little beer after the classes. So I started to prioritize. It wasn't all the I know there's also a text about how much you should read during college, and it's okay if you don't read all the text. It's okay if you get in class a little lost. The teachers will probably make it easier. I had many teachers that all the class was basically them reading the text with us. So there wasn't really a need to read the text before. I'm not saying to be a bad student. I'm saying that if you feel like you don't have enough time to do everything, it's okay to prioritize. If you know a professor is a little bit harsher than the others, then focus on their class, focus on their texts, and try to understand the things you have more difficult to understand. Um, what are the jobs I could consider doing with my interest? Is just a second. Oh, you are welcome. If you have more questions, you can always send them to me. What are the jobs I could consider doing with my interest? It depends on their interest. I believe if you wanna, it will depend on what area you have more interest, but know that psychology is in basically every other field. The mental health and the mind issues are a concern at every side. So whatever is your biggest interest, I'm sure you'll find a way to put psychology in it. What habits do I need to remove and change in order for me to succeed in psychology course? I don't think you need to remove or change anything. I think it's very important that you be yourself. If you think you can be a more organized person, that would be great, especially because some professors are not organized, so you have to be organizer for them. So if you can change that, that would be important. But it's very important to just be you. Otherwise, you lost yourself in the middle of it and you stop enjoying it. So, as I said, college is supposed to be the best years of your life. And if you try to change your behavior, it won't allow you to be yourself. We had a question about online college. Since the person who asked this is from India, I'm sorry, but I can't help you find online psychology because I'm not from India. But as I said, we have many Indians here, so I'm sure someone might be able to help you. And you can always just call the colleges or email them and ask, hey, do you have an online psychology course? And you can also make small courses like on Coursera. They have many psychology courses that might help you. Um, if these ones are about research, and it's a very amazing field. Um, Wait, we have a question here. Just a second. Yes, SAT exam after completing high school and take up psychology as my major. I don't know where country are you, so I can't answer that because I don't know. It always depends on your educational system, the one using in your country. So you're from India. If any other Indians know what to do here, please feel free to help. They want to know if they should take the SAT exam after high school to take up psychology as major, or if there is any specific exams. I really don't know that. Here we have a big, like the SAT is a national exam, but also most of private colleges have their own exams. So it always depends on what you want to do. And I can help you, but I'm sure someone here or in the Discord server might help. Okay, I'm sorry. About the research, uh, the first question is about how to search for the keywords. Oh, okay. Someone replied to um, about the keywords and how I identify relevant and irrelevant papers. First of all, I don't really recommend using Google Scholar. I believe every country or at least every continent has their own big database about the articles and papers you can find. And the thing with Google Scholar is that anyone can put anything on there. So I can take any college paper I did and put it on Google Scholar. It doesn't mean that it will be good. So the first thing I recommend to you is not use Google Scholar. Try to find a good database to research and use your keywords. And then when you find a paper who has a title that seems interesting to you, read the abstract of the paper. So that way you can know exactly what they are talking about and what are their objectives. So that way you can know if that one is good for you or not. When starting your research, how do you go about it? Identifying gaps, solidifying relevant theoretical frameworks. I think that is a constant job, a constant work. You always have to keep an eye on those things. You'll probably find a gap in the middle of your research and you have to fix it. What resources do you use recommend if not Google Scholar? As I said, most countries and most continents have their own database, so you could check on those first. And if not, look up for the main kind of magazines. I don't remember the right word, but mostly in good magazines, scientific ones, and they probably have a digital database where you can look up. I always use them. And if it is something paid, there are some websites. I don't know if I should say this on here, but there are a few sites that can take that paid article and give it to you for free. I have links later. I don't know if I should do this here. I'm sorry. But that's it. Try to look for continent or country like databases. They are very important. What is the preparation needed for a clinical master's? And if experience is really important. It depends a lot on what will be your research. I think a bit of experience is needed, but mostly so you know what are the issues or what are the most concerns when doing a clinic, so that way you can do a clinical master. I know it's very difficult to get experience in the clinical field, but having at least a little bit of experience is important so you can decide what research you want to do. Oh, I'm happy the information was helpful. I'm sorry if I missed any questions. You can send here or you can ask me privately later. What else to say? I hope you all liked it. I'm sorry for my English.
Hi, are there more questions for Carol? Yeah, feel free to ask. I think there is no more questions. Yeah, your English is fine.
Good, good. Well then, thank you everybody for coming. It
Thank
was a
you.
pleasure to give this talk.
Yeah, and it's nice to hear your experiences in psychology. Thank you so much for sharing it with us. Thank you everyone. If you have more questions, feel free to just ask in the server. Thank you.
Thank you guys.
I hope you guys have a great day.
Yeah, or night.
Oh
You should
yeah,
go
or
to
night.
sleep.
Yeah, well, for me, night.